towards Angelini. Welcome back. Oh, I hear music. Full Velocity Network.
taking the online race broadcast performance to the next level. This is the Full Velocity Network.
The lights are on, the stage is set, and we are ready to go with another installment of the Full Velocity Network. Good evening out there, everybody in YouTube land. Welcome to the ultimate esport experience, which is here on FVN. Hang out tonight with our friends at SMO Harcore. It's been a while since we talked to Jamie and Viper and Bill and all the guys over here at SMO. Great to have you here. An awesome event tonight at the Manassas Speedway, the Wounded Warrior Project tribute race, raising money for the Wounded Warrior Project. We come out here tonight honoring our men and women out there in the service, and what better way to do it here with a great night with our friends at SMO here live on Full Velocity. Good evening out there, everybody in YouTube land. Once again, Phil Lacasse here, alongside tonight the best partners in the business, Too Tall Todd Stanton, Joe Allen at the controls, and special guest up here with us tonight, the champ, David Schildhouse in the house. What better way to have a great night here on the Full Velocity Network, Todd? A great field of cars on hand, and as always, great to come back to SMO. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, definitely a great time to be back here at SMO, Manassas Speedway. I've always circled things on the calendar, especially when we come to SMO. These guys put on one whale of a show each and every time for us. And I always love doing these tribute races, Phil, just like everybody else has said time in and time again. That we like to see these tribute races. We like to see what's going on here, everything that's going on. Support the tribute races and all that kind of stuff that goes on. SMO does a great job with it. They always give us a ton of files to work with, and it makes our job so much easier up here in the booth. I can't thank SMO enough.
Yeah, these guys, as always, Jamie Tedder doing an awesome job hooking up with a whole bunch of information here tonight. And great paint schemes going to show off here is everybody's got cars, painted up as the branch of the military out here. Is we pay tribute to our our service people out there, men and women abroad, at home, or those who may have been injured there. As the Wounded Warrior Project does so much work for our soldiers here that are injured in the line of battle. But let's throw it over to our buddy, Mr. David Schildhouse. The champ is here this evening at Manassas, buddy. Welcome back to Full Velocity, man. Great to have you. An awesome show we're going to have here tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. Good evening, race fans. Good evening to everyone out in YouTube, and welcome back to the celebration of speed known as sim racing. I'm excited to be here for my second go-around on the Full Velocity Network. I couldn't imagine a better way to spend a Saturday night with some friends here at the racetrack, watching these guys put on what should be one great show and display of performance here. So I'm ready to get it on the road and see what these guys have to show us tonight.
No, absolutely. And Joe Allen, we come out here to Manassas for the first time here on FVN. Not a racetrack I'm familiar with, but what these guys tell me, a 2-mile racetrack, a lot like a Michigan. So if that's any indication here of these Cup cars, we're going to see an awesome race here for these guys tonight.
Yes, sir. Looking around during happy hour and some of these practice speeds and the qualifying speeds, it's going to be a fun event. It's shaped just like the Michigan International Speedway for the most part. A lot of high speeds, a lot of grip, a lot of banking in the track. We'll see some exciting 2-wide racing here this afternoon and this evening, and I think it's going to put on a great show. We've done a couple shows in the past under our former name with SMO, and always come over here and always expect great things out of these guys. They usually put on one heck of a show for all the viewers out there, and I know they take a lot of pride in being able to do that for everybody, not only for themselves as well. So I think we're in for a treat this afternoon, guys. It's going to be a fun one.
Oh, absolutely. The first annual tribute race here for the Wounded Warrior Project. These guys at SMO, they've done races for cancer research. We come out with the Wounded Warriors here tonight. Awesome job by all these guys, especially the owner of SMO, the operator guy, very instrumental to getting us out here tonight. And that is our buddy, Mr. Jamie Tedder. Let's see if we can't dial up the driver at the 910 this evening. Jamie, it's Phil Lacasse of Full Velocity, buddy. You have a copy?
Yes, sir, I do. Hey, Phil, how you doing?
We're doing great, buddy. Looks like you guys are doing great here at SMO as well. Good to catch up with you guys once again, and what a better way to do so. The Wounded Warrior Project tribute race here at Manassas. Tell our viewers out there all about this evening. I know it's really special for every one of us.
Yeah, well, myself as a veteran, and also we've got a lot of drivers here that are veterans and or have a family that's still active in the military. So we all got together and decided this would be a great thing to do and promote the Wounded Warrior Project. Of course, those that don't know, the Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization, and their mission is to honor and empower the wounded warriors. They raise awareness and enlist the public's aid for needs of the severely injured servicemen and women. So, um, with that said, that's what we're here to do tonight is show our support for our men and women of the military and hopefully get the awareness out there of the Wounded Warrior Project. And I know you guys have a donation link on the FBN broadcast that you're doing for us, and I really appreciate that. And if anybody wants to donate, just click on that link. It'll take you to our SMO page with the Wounded Warrior Project, and we also have a Facebook page too, because a lot of the guys wanted that had Facebook wanted to know why we didn't do it that way. So I set up one of them too, because not everybody has Facebook. So we also have the donation link there for on the Wounded Warrior Project page itself. So just really excited about doing this. This is the first time SMO has ever done a project race like this. So got a lot of cars out here running different paint schemes, promoting the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, what have you. So just hope we can put on a good show for you guys tonight and for all those watching, and hopefully some of the members of the military will be able to see this and appreciate what we're doing as well.
Oh, absolutely right. And we appreciate all the efforts you guys have put in. We're just thrilled and honored to have a show like this on our airwaves as always. And we appreciate you guys at SMO for letting us all be a small part of this. But Jamie, it's been a while since we talked to you here. The first time we've had you on our current adventure, which is the Full Velocity Network. So for guys who may be watching for the first time that don't know the background of SMO Hardcore, our origins, and even what you guys doing now as far as racing on a given night. I know Saturday's not a normal night for you guys out here doing a special one-off evening, but for our viewers out there maybe watching looking for a great place to race, tell everybody out there how they can hook up with you guys.
Yes sir, Phil. www.smo-hardcore.com. Come on over, sign up, we'll get you approved if you want to race with us. We've been around 13 years. As a matter of fact, in a couple months we're going to be doing a broadcast here on FBN for our 13th year anniversary race. So but 13 years in this sim, that says a lot. I know there's other leagues out there in the community that's been around probably just as long or longer, and so there's still a few of us here that continue to support this sim and this game, and we definitely appreciate being a part of the community. But Sunday nights we run this mod that we're running tonight, the Gen 6 BR CTS. That's on our Sunday night Speedway series. Monday night we run the regular Gen 6 mod for our Cup series. Wednesday night we run the NWS 11 for our Xfinity series, and then on Fridays we run the CWS 15 for our Truck series.
Well, Jamie, as always, once again, buddy, good to be back over to SMO and check you guys out, and just thrilled to be a part of this awesome event here for the Wounded Warriors tonight. So good evening, have a good evening, my friend. Go out there, race hard, have some fun. I know it's one of the principles at SMO is go out there, be clean, have some fun, so we're definitely all going to do that tonight. And thanks again for allowing us to be a part of it. We'll do this again soon, I promise.
Thanks to you, Phil, Todd, and Joe, and FBN for being here. And as we close, I just want to say one thing. I know we got some drivers that couldn't be here tonight. Some had to work, what have you. But we have one driver, Viper, who's been with this league as long as I have, and longer, actually. His mother is in the hospital, and we definitely are thinking about him and his mom tonight, and our thoughts and prayers are with him.
Absolutely. Our thoughts go out to Pete as well. Well, Jamie, once again, thanks for a couple of words here, my friend, and have a 9-10, a good run tonight, buddy. We'll be rooting for you.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, Jamie Tedder, the operator of SMO, responsible for getting us here this evening. But, guys, an awesome show we have on hand. What do you say we... So we're getting ready here to go trackside here, waiting for just a couple of seconds waiting for the word from trackside. They're going to do something special here tonight. We got the national anthem on tap, but also we're going to have a special invocation being done here by our friend Andy Margot. So we're going to throw this thing trackside. I believe Joe's going to be down there, the guys trackside, and we're going to bring this invocation over our airwaves.
Channel switched.
Okay, guys, I'm down here trackside. We're going to throw it down to one of the competitors here in the field tonight, Andy Margot, for our invocation before we kick it to the national anthem.
Thank you, Joe. I want to ask everyone to keep Pete Astrop's mom in your prayers, that she may have a fast recovery and be released from the hospital. Let us pray. Almighty God, we commend to your gracious care and keeping our wounded warriors and all the men and women of the armed forces at home and abroad. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace. Strengthen them in their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the perils which beset them, and grant them a sense of your abiding presence wherever they may be. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
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 You were moved.
All right, invocation done. Now let's take this opportunity to throw a trackside for tonight's playing of our national anthem. All right, back up at Manassas Speedway, getting ready to go here for 100 laps around the 2-mile oval here, paying tribute to our friends at the Wounded Warrior Project, trying to raise and donate money. So anybody out there, find our links on Facebook, and raise money for a great cause. But Todd, it's about the time to put this race under the green flag. So let's dive straight into tonight's starting lineup.
And now tonight's starting lineup for the first annual Wounded Warrior Project Military Tribute, sponsored by the SMO Harcore Online Racing League. Starting on the pole, driving the number 68, that is Bill Salo, and his dancing partners outside, driving the number 61, that's Dick Jordan.
Inside row number 2, the number 7, a number near and dear to my heart, that's Kenny Tedder. And on the outside, in the 028, that's Monty Keller.
Rolling off for number 5 tonight, we just talked to him, the driver of a number 910 from SMO. That is Jamie Tedder, and to his outside from Phoenix, Arizona. Wheeling tonight, car number 76. That's our old buddy. Welcome back to Matt Wiedemeyer. Let's throw it down trackside for tonight's indication.
Drivers, start your engines!
On the inside of row number 4, it's going to be the number 81, Bob Tompkins Sr., and to his outside, the number 5, Bob Kincaid.
Next row back inside, row number 5, starting in that 9th starting position, driving the number 29, that's Brian Wolf, and outside of him, driving the number 84, out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the city of champions, that is Andy Margot.
Rolling shotgun on the field tonight, 11th position, we find driver of car number 21. That is Steve Looney. That is your 11-car field, 100 laps around the Manassas Speedway. Missing man formation here behind the beautifully prepared SMO Wounded Warrior pace car. Missing man formation down the backstretch as they head toward turn number 3, paying tribute to all our military out there abroad, those who may have been wounded in combat, and our thoughts and prayers to all of them out there, as always, as they are with all those that are currently serving out there, keeping this great nation free and protecting this sacred land. So we're ready to go here, Todd. 100 laps around Manassas. We look toward the front of the field. We find our pole sitter, Bill Salo, the 68. Dick Jordan, the 61, Kenny Tedder, Monty Keller, Jamie Tedder. That's going to be your top 5. How do you think the first couple laps of this race are going to play out? I think it's going to be really fun.
Oh, definitely going to be really fun here at Manassas. And I tell you, I already went off on a limb, and I said Bill Salo was going to win this race here this evening. That was even in early practice. So I'm going to go for Bill Salo here tonight. And yes, I'm off on a limb here that early on in the going. Getting ready to go green flag racing here at Manassas Speedway. Just waiting for these guys to put the loud pedal down. The green flag is waiting to be displayed here. Green flag is now in the air. Bill Salo out to the early advantage over that number 7 machine. Right now, running in that second spot, that is Kenny Tedder.
We watch these guys start to form up here as they go through 1 and 2. This is a track where you can just, as Todd said, put the loud hammer down and just get after it with pure driving skill. You don't have to worry about hitting any braking points. You just got to follow the guy in front of you. And that's what these guys do is they build speed 170, 180 miles an hour as they go down the backstretch. One single file line on the inside, it looks like. A few cars to the outside. We're going to see that all race long.
Yeah, the inside lane dominant here through the opening circuit. Bill Salo, the 68, has peeked out to the lead. The 7 of Kenny Tedder is there. Son Jamie, the 910. They are tucked up all single file. Also right there, 4th car in line, Todd. You can't come to SMO without mentioning the name Bob Tompkins Sr. He just celebrated a birthday here this week. 73 years young is Bob Tompkins, racing in that 4th spot off of turn 2.
Definitely the ageless one. In that number 81 machine is Bob Tompkins Sr., a big fan here of Full Velocity Network, always been on board with us here. Bob Tompkins Sr. getting belated happy birthday to that number 81 machine is now. He moves up into the 4th position and hanging on to that 4th position, I should say. Bill Salo right now is actually dropping back through the field, so that's going to put Bob Tompkins Sr. right into that 3rd spot. Not sure what's wrong with Bill Salo. Maybe a little bit of a strategy play here early on in the going.
It looks like he just got drop kick out of the lead. This is sort of playing out. It's going to be like a super speedway race like Talladega or Daytona where it's all about momentum and using the draft. But I think you're right. I think he's employing a little bit of strategy, got up front, wanted to lead a couple laps, and then fall to the back just in case any craziness broke out and give himself a chance to get through it. It looks like he's up to speed. Probably just some strategy on his part.
Might be a little bit of strategy, but also keep in mind, just looking over the rule set that these guys are working with tonight, as they customarily do anytime SMO Hardcore does have a race, they have what they call a no low lining rule, which means these guys at the front of the field can't hug that yellow line all the way around the speedway. So you may see a game like a leapfrog here kind of thing, Todd. You may see a leader emerge up front, but if the guy behind is going to have that run to the inside, guys at the lead will have to honor that run. So it's going to make for lead changes aplenty here tonight as our new race leader, Bob Tompkins, is down the backstretch.
Yeah, Bob Tompkins down the back straightaway right now, having heavy challenges from the 028. That's Monte Keller in the 028. Now right up to the rear bumper. The 81 of Bob Tompkins here through 3 and 4. The number 29 of Brian Wolf running in that 3rd spot. 4th is Dick Jordan in at number 61. Now look, Bob Tompkins Sr. drifts up the track. No low lining rule here. Monte Keller now takes over the lead in that 028 going into turn 1.
And really what a rule package like that does to you as a driver, you know what you got. You know what you have to adhere to, and you know you can't block that lane that's running the inside that has the momentum. You know you got to let them go. So if you're a driver that's a little bit further back in the pack, you're sort of counting ahead. This is like chess almost. You got to plan 5 or 6 moves ahead, knowing where you are in line, because eventually you're going to shuffle up to the front. And it's all about the strategy of putting yourself in the right place at the right time, so that when it becomes your turn to be up front, it's on the last lap and you're coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I kind of like that thinking, but David, I know you have laps around Manassas. I think Todd does as well, but I want to ask you the question specifically. Out here in the CTS physics here with the Cup cars at Manassas here tonight, how much do you think these guys, are they flat-footing it around this place? I know these guys are at a tremendous rate of speed, but do you think these guys have to lift and breathe in these corners, or do you think these guys got this thing buried to the wood, as per se, and just keep that thing to the mat and let it drive itself around this place?
My suspicions would be that they are letting the draft sort of pull them around as they get in line and stay in line. You know, and when you got a racetrack where you can just hold it down all the way, it really eliminates one aspect of the race that you might get in other places, which brings to the forefront that strategy I was talking about and allows you more time to focus on that strategy. So if you don't have to worry about hitting braking points and knowing when to accelerate and all that stuff, you can just focus on where do I need to be, who am I running with, and at what point am I going to inherit the lead because the guy in front of me has to run the high lane and not block me on the bottom side.
Yeah, but that's a beautiful rule. I have to agree with you more, but it's a beautiful rule there. They actually have to give up that position there and not run on the bottom side here all race long and see that train effect. That causes a lot of incidents out there on the raceways. A lot of times is that low lining rule, and if you're low lining around the track, a lot of times somebody that's faster is trying to get. Plus, it gets everybody. It's a fun race. It's one of those things where your donations. It's donations for the Wounded Warrior Project here this evening. Everybody wants a little bit of TV time. It gives everybody a chance to show off these beautiful paint schemes. They're all prepared really beautiful out there on the speedway. Another thing I want to hit at tonight, like I do with every one of these types of broadcasts, 15 cents for every green flag lap. We're going to do 15 cents for every green flag lap that these guys go. We're going to donate to the Wounded Warrior Project here on the Full Velocity Network.
That's just an awesome way here as we just, celebrate here, doing a little bit of racing, but it's all about our military warriors out there tonight, our wounded warriors we're raising awareness for and money. But the field, as it's working its way through turn number 1 and 2, it was Matt Wiedemeyer who had our lead last time around. This time by, it is going to look like Bob Kincaid with help of Steve Looney. Those guys going to roll down to the inside lane. New race leader, David, as they hit turn 3.
Yeah, it's just, I watched this and I'm love this view that we get at this racetrack. That's another great thing about Manassas International Speedway is you get these great views of the racing action all around this place. And it's so fun to watch this huge snake-like pack of cars roaming around this big racetrack. But, I mean, these guys are just shuffling and fighting, and it's just wonderful.
As Phil's falling out of his chair, I think he saw a hot dog somewhere along the line. I know he's got to be a little bit hungry here this evening, but I'm not sure what happened to Phil there momentarily. But watching these guys go around the track, we haven't covered up much of what's going on through the race right now. Bob Kincaid is your current race leader in that number 5 machine, but now we're seeing Steve Looney. Bob Kincaid was your race leader. Steve Looney right now in that number 21 machine. Andy Margot is running in that second spot in the number 84. Third is the number 7 of Kenny Tedder. Fourth, the 68 of Bill Salo. Again, he drop kicked himself to the rear here early on in the going. Look at that chess match here. The 68 playing his pieces right now up to 4th. Bob Tompkins Sr. running 5th. 6th is the 028 of Monte Kettler. 7th to 29 of Brian Wolf. Matt Wiedemeyer shown on your screen as Weedy 1 in that number 76. He is 8th. 9th is the 910 of Jamie Tedder. Bob Kincaid is 10th, and rounding out your 11-car field here this evening, the 61 of Dick Jordan.
That's Steve Looney going to have your current race lead off of turn number 4. Or that's Andy Margot, rather. The 84 up to the front now. The 7 of Kenny Tedder down to the inside. Todd makes a mistake. I make the mistake. Had to swallow that hot dog real quick, Todd. I did by all means get hungry there. But now a new race leader emerged here. That nationwide Wounded Warrior paint scheme, the Chevrolet of Kenny Tedder, going to motor his way out to the lead for the first time, David, as they hit turn number 3.
Yeah, I'm so impressed by these guys. They're racing really, really close, and some of the side-by-side stuff is just you won't find it in other places that like you will here at SMO Harcore. And these guys, they make the hardcore name come true. So it's fun to watch these guys get around here as we see the number 7 up front. And boy, that brings back some memories of when I used to drive a 7 car and sometimes put that thing up front.
Definitely have no memories of that 7 car of myself. Besides maybe looking at I guess I ran an Alan Quickie scheme a long time ago in that 7 car. We'll talk a little bit about that later in a different broadcast. But I have no memories of the 7 car. But as far as that goes, David, you probably won a lot of races in that number 7 car. I've won a lot of races in like a 32 or a 23, but that was in the far past.
Yeah, Todd, winning races for us, unlike our partners here, David and Joe, the young, good-looking guys in the bunch, it's been a while since I think either of us have been to victory lane, so that's why we, rely on the expertise of these guys. But the racing action been good through turns number 1 and 2. Bob Tompkins has reclaimed the lead, but as we look to the inside, here comes Brian Wolf. Brian with a great run down to the inside. Bob almost, ran that low line almost through the block. We're almost 3 wide there, Todd, now. Almost to turn 3. They almost, they were 3 wide there for a brief second. They'll fall back in line.
Yeah, definitely 3 wide coming out of turn 4. Down the front straightaway, Brian Wolf is going to inherit the lead in that number 29 machine. Those guys were putting on a whale of a show. 3 wide here on lap 15 of 100 here at Manassas. And these guys are not giving an inch to each other right now. They were going back and forth for the lead. Now you got a high side. Now you got a bottom side. You got a little bit of these guys shaking it up just a little bit. It comes down to a matter of opinion and what these guys want to do. And sometimes you just get tired of running in one line, and I know that just as well as anybody else, right, David?
Yeah, I've been wondering if we were going to see these guys try and form a second pack, if you will, to run the high side to match wits with the bottom line and get a little more side-by-side, two unique packs, top lane, bottom lane sort of thing. And I think they're trying to figure it out. I don't think they were content to sort of run in a single file line, 16 laps into this event, and it's a 100-lap race. You don't want to just sit there and run single file as they're 3 wide off of turn 2 for about the 5th place. That is good racing right there. Phil, what do you think of that?
Oh, that's awesome racing there as they hit turn 3. Andy Margot to the low side there. Looks like he has help from Jamie Tedder in the inside lane. It's Bill Salo, the 68 there, that was stuck in that high lane. He's dropped a couple of positions on back. As to, looks like that was, believe, the 61 of Dick Jordan there, losing a few positions. Those guys, almost 3 wide racing, making for some great pictures here at Manassas there, Todd. But do you think the outside lane, if they keep going at it, do you think they're going to make time? Or is it going to be a question of, do they need more cars in that bottom lane to make time up there?
They're going to need more cars on that outside line. I almost believe as many times I've ran Manassas, and I have a love-hate relationship with this track, and I've ran it many, many times here in my early part of the 2003 career, in probably about 2005, 2006. This track's been around for a very, very long time, and I've had a lot of issues with it, and a lot of times you guys got to run the bottom, but you got to have a lot more cars up on the top side of the speedway, the top shelf, per se, and try to make some moves. These guys doing pretty well on the top shelf as these guys are starting to fade back just a little bit, though, into single file rotation. So we're going to see what's going to happen here. Jamie Tedder now jumping out of line in that 910. He's got help from Dick Jordan in that number 61 machine. They're trying to get around. I believe that's number 76 of Matt Wiedemeyer and the 84 of Andy Margot. Those guys were 1-2. Now put them back to 3-4 and maybe even 4 or 5-6 there as they come out of turn number 4 down the front straightaway.
Well, I tell you, you want to talk about running the top shelf, running up around that cushion along the wall. There's one guy in this field who loves to run up there, and that's the number 68, your pick for the win. Bill Salo, he loves running the top side. He said so before the race. He loves running up alongside the wall there, sort of in the junior line, if you will, the BR line for those that know such things. And so no surprise to see him up there right now in about the 5th or 6th spot, run that high side. That's where he likes to be. Sort of reminds us of our friend, the high side hustler, right?
That's one way to put it there. We know our buddy Martin, runs that high side. Bill Salo, all the years we've, covered SMO, he's been a guy, has been to the high side many, many a times. But anytime you talk about SMO, Todd, you look for the number 5 of Bob Kincaid. He is, mired back in that, 9th position currently. But how many times we come to SMO in a big race like this, a non-points race, and seeing a guy like Bob Kincaid go to victory lane. We did that a couple of years ago for making, a cancer awareness race we've done over here at SMO. An emotional win in victory lane, and one of those guys you always keep an eye on here at SMO is Bob Kincaid.
Yeah, definitely Bob Kincaid out of Scarborough, Maine. Bob is running a very special paint scheme tonight on the number 5 as a tribute to his family tree of service, starting with the Army paint at the front of the car, honoring his father, Wayne Kincaid, for his service in the Army. The Marine Corps colors in the middle of the car is for Bob's service in the Marines himself, and then back to the back of the car for his brother Tim Kincaid for his service for the Coast Guard. Bob says that he's proud to participate in this race, honor all of our military members and families who have dedicated time for our country, and a special salute to those who have sacrificed so much for our freedom. So that's a little bit of a tidbit from Bob Kincaid. Bob has won races that we have broadcasted in the past there, Phil, and he's going to be one of those guys to look out for here later on in the going.
Yeah, absolutely right. Who can forget that night here? We were on DRTV at the time. Bob Kincaid in a emotional victory lane. He had just lost his mother a couple of days before, and he ended up at victory lane. It was probably one of the most emotional moments I've ever had here throughout my broadcast career, and always one of those things that'll always come to mind, always be synonymous with me anytime we come back to SMO. But turning our attention back to the racetrack, 22 laps of 100 up on the board. It's the pride of Sharon, Pennsylvania. Our friend Bob Tompkins Sr. currently out with the race lead. Matt Wiedemeyer right there in line. And how about that U.S. Army Chevrolet of Dick Jordan, the 61? He's currently third. And David, he's going to pull to the low side. Dick Jordan, the move, he's up to second. He may make a run for the lead off of turn 2.
Yeah, I think everyone was waiting on the 76 of Wiedemeyer to make a move to the inside and He just was sort of slow to the punch, if you will, and the 61 decided to make the move for him here as he moves to the inside now to take the lead going into turn 3. So, again, it goes back to being aware of your surroundings and being aware of the situation, to use the runs and use the rules package that you're provided to make the right move. So, now we got the 61 taking the lead as they start lap 24, and that puts us inside of the window now for pit stops to start. We may be looking at some green flag pit stops here, guys.
Yeah, definitely green flag pit stop's going to happen here very, very shortly. The 61 of Dick Jordan, and that number, he is up there up front. The number 68, I should say, is right there in that second spot. But are these guys going to stay in lockstep with one another? I know they have a rules package right now that's going on there. We've talked about that. We beat it. It looks like they're all going to come down pit road and follow each other down onto pit road. It's the 61 of Dick Jordan, Bill Salo. Looks like everybody coming down onto pit road. Every single car on the track coming down the pit road for service, 4 tires, and they were all clean.
All clean, and nobody off the end of that tire wall, which anytime, Manassas is kind of like a Michigan. I can't tell you how many times I've hit that tire wall coming down the pit road on a green flag pit stop at Michigan. And when I saw those tires creeping up here today at Manassas, it just kind of, dawned up on me. But I'm down in the 61 pit of Dick Jordan. The U.S. Army Chevrolet's got 2 left side tires in the air. Left side tire is work. 2 cans of fuel going in. Waiting on the gas to be done. Dick Jordan's work, guys. Clean and green down here. He's down and away.
Seems to be 4 tires and fuel for everybody on pit road that I saw. No need to take only 2, as it's a good clean race off of pit road. Everyone sort of gets back in file step here. Don't want to merge onto the track too quickly, as it looked like Bob Kincaid might have jumped back up on track a little too early, but he brings it back down underneath the yellow line. Everyone using the apron there to get back up to speed as they spill out onto the backstretch.
Yep, spilling out on the back straightaway. Good race here for the lead as the 61 of Dick Jordan came off of pit road there with the lead in the number 61 machine, of course. The 68 right there was right there in his tire tracks. Looked like they may have made a little bit of a bump coming off there to merge to the track, but Bill Salo running in that second spot. Third right now would be Monte Keller in that 028 machine. These guys starting to get up to speed coming down through the front straightaway, but it's going to take them a little bit of time here to get up through that gearbox and get up to the speed that they were once running.
Yeah, it looks like they're probably, going to maybe have a 6-car breakaway at the front of the field as they hit turns number 1 and 2. But as we look up toward the front, it is Bill Salo going to make a run for the race lead on the inside of Dick Jordan. But the interesting tidbit there on a pit road, David, everybody down on pit road elected for 4 tires except for that 61. Do you think he had anything to gain there by taking 2 tires or anything to lose there? What do you think of that 2-tire play?
As we see the 5 coming back onto pit road, I think he got a penalty for merging onto the track too soon there. We saw as they came off. That would be a black flag, and that's a big blow to the 5's chances to win this race tonight if we don't get a yellow flag. But back to your question regarding the 2-tire strategy for the 61, he must have taken a good hard look at the way the tires were wearing and felt that he didn't need to take 4 tires. And the time I've found in my experience, when you come to a track and you run it out of fuel, basically, you run to the limit on fuel, the time it takes to put 2 cans of Sunoco Racing fuel into one of these race cars is enough time to change 4 tires. And so you're not really losing anything by taking 4 tires. And so to me, that's a little bit of a head scratcher. He's still up front, but we'll see if the 2-tire strategy has any negative side effects as we get on into the second run.
Yeah, definitely going to have to see what's going to happen with Dick Jordan. Again, Dick Jordan, we got a little bit of tidbit on him, just waiting to go down through here. He is from Vermont. Dick Jordan and the number 61, RC Jordan. He likes to be called. Been sim racing since late in 2002 time frame. Started online racing a year or so after getting in our 2003. When he finally got broadband access. I remember trying to get that broadband access. That was a nightmare up here in New York. I was on dial-up. But he began in numerous leagues over the years and has found his home at SMO Harcore for the last 5 or 6 years. Since you can't make a living at this, he has to race when he can, which means he often don't get to the track as much as he would like. When he is there, he tries his best to race clean and hard. Been racing trucks for Hindenburg Veterinary Associates. Been and for a couple years now. They are a great bunch of doctors and technicians who clearly care about their non-human patients and the patients' human parents. They have been taking care of our four fuzzy four-legged friends for over 10 years. Wouldn't go anywhere else. So a nice little plug there for Heinsberg Veterinary Associates for a couple of years. He obviously runs that paint scheme normally.
Yeah, absolutely. But Todd, I got to go back to the point you just made. Did I hear you say the words dial-up from back in the day? I think our buddies, David and especially Joe, I mean, sorry to Joe, he may not be the most good-looking guy here tonight like he normally is, but do you think these guys, Todd, maybe remember dial-up? Are they even old enough to remember the age of dial-up?
I think I think indeed they should be able to remember dial-up. I still even remember AOL Instant Messenger, and that used to be the thing. That was the bomb diggity back in the 90s.
It was definitely rad, David Schildhouse. Do you have any recollection of these times, dial-up, Messenger? I mean, I know I joke with the youth of you and our good-looking buddy Joe Allen, but I mean, do you have any recollection of having to race online back in the dial-up days? Because it was definitely different.
I was subject to 56K for most of high school, and my first experience with broadband internet was when I moved into my dorm room at the University of Arizona in 2002. So I did not get to experience the wonders of cable DSL or anything like that, unless I went over to one of my buddies' houses and was having a LAN party over there. But my parents weren't on board with the whole high-speed internet thing. So, I was a little bit behind the times, but I was definitely experiencing the pain of dial-up all the way through college. So, I remember those days.
Well, we feel your pain there for sure. But, Todd, we're talking about high-speed internet. We got some high speed out on that racetrack. Look up to the front of the field. Kenny Tedder, the number 7, has reclaimed the lead. Steve Looney, Matt Wiedemeyer, Brian Wolf, Monty Keller, your current top 5. The interesting tidbit here, Todd, all those race leaders have migrated now up to the outside lane.
Yeah, definitely migrated to the outside lane. Just watching these guys through the field here and watching what they've been doing here as we were talking a little bit about them guys. But right now, the 7 of Kenny Tedder holding on to the lead. You got Brian Wolf diving down to the bottom side here in that number 29 machine. These guys pretty much look equaled out between the low line and the high line, almost like the middle groove. Looks like the middle groove kind of pinches them down there in the corner, which you got to expect to do here to keep that high line rolling here, especially drafting. CTS physics here tonight, but it looks like that inside line, again, prevailing is now with 028, and Monty Keller goes up to help the number 7 of Kenny Tedder. They are now going to make another push here to the front on the top side of the speedway.
Now remember, you got the 5 who is a lap down. Bob Kincaid is a lap down because of that black flag that he got after the green flag pit stops. He's helping these guys on the inside line, but, really curious to see. I guess these guys sort of figured out, well, hey, we're getting, our butts beat off by the low line. So let's all migrate up to the high side and see what we can do up there. You got to love the mind of a race car driver, always trying to find a way to get an advantage. And, we're simple creatures, us race car drivers, but we do learn and we adapt as time goes on. So kudos to these guys for trying something different as we're now working lap 35 of 100. And there's the lap car heading out to the front of the pack. So always interesting to see how a lap car plays into the strategy as you go through these laps.
Yeah, and these guys are all formed up into one, big pack here. All 11 drivers on the racetrack. 10 of those 11 on the lead lap, but that first on that lap down is that number 5 of Bob Kincaid, hoping for maybe a quick caution flag. I'm not hoping for it there. This racing here at SMO tonight at the Manassas Speedway has been spectacular, and we're out here benefiting, raising donations for our friends at the Wounded Warrior Project. David's been busy in the chat box all night long flashing that link, but I'm looking off of turn 2, Todd, 3, and dare I say almost 4 wide racing. That got a little bit hairy there off of turn 2. These guys gather it back up, but for a second there, it looked like we were borderlining on maybe our first caution flag of the night. I mean, it's a wide racetrack, but these guys were using up every inch of it.
Yeah, they were using up every inch. I don't think there was any room left on the racing surface. 4 wide there momentarily. 3 wide there for a little bit of part of it. Then they went 4 wide. Craziness. They're 3 wide once again with the 84 of Andy Margot down on the bottom side. That doesn't last long as Andy Margot makes short work of the 028 of Monte Keller. But I'm telling you what, these guys are starting to slice and dice their way through the field. They don't care if they're going 3 wide. They don't care if they're going 4 wide. Next question is, can they go 5 wide?
Never ask a race car driver if he can go 5 wide, because he will. if there's an opportunity to make a pass, he doesn't care how many wide he is. He's just going to try and make it work. And again, that speaks to the skill and talent of these guys over here at SMO Hardcore, as we saw him go 3 and 4 wide. That's not easy to do. Now, officially, this racetrack measures 60 feet across. That is the usable racing surface, including the apron. 60 feet. They are using all 60 feet. Well, maybe not so much the apron, but you know what I mean. They are using it all up, and why not? Nothing else but pride on the line, supporting a great cause. Got to put it all out there. You don't want to leave anything on the racetrack and wonder if you could have done a little bit more to get that win.
Well, these guys certainly hanging it all out there as we, work number 38 laps of 100 up on the board. Current race leader is Bob Tompkins in the 81, alongside the number 910 of Jamie Tedder. But these guys are side by side all over this 2-mile racetrack. But, we've talked to Todd. We've talked to David quite a bit. We have not talked to our buddy Joe Allen here since the opening set of this race. And Joe has been clean and green through almost now the first 40 laps, having an awesome race out here. You got a lot going on down there in the control booth tonight as well.
Yes, sir. These guys keeping me quite busy down here, but, I can't complain. This is awesome racing that they're putting on for all of our viewers out there and all their fans that are watching in YouTube land. So you really can't complain. But, I just want to give another shout out. I mean, we're here for a great cause. These guys supporting the Wounded Warrior Project, and we're green flag so far. And I'm going to go ahead and match what Todd is doing. Todd is pledged to donate 15 cents for every lap that's been run under green. So far, we're up to 39 completed laps. We just started lap 40. I'm going to match Todd Stanton's donation of 15 cents for every lap that is run green. That'll be donated to the Wounded Warrior Project at the end of this event. And make sure to check out the links provided on the YouTube page in the channel description, as well as what's being posted in the channel chat. The link is directly there. Go out, support a Wounded Warrior Project or any military veteran project that's out there, and help these guys raise some funds and donations to make this event truly special beyond what these guys have done out there so far on the track tonight.
Absolutely right. We're here for a good cause here, paying tribute to our military, who may have served and been injured in the line of battle here, which is, of course, the charity at the Wounded Warrior Project definitely is a big champion of, and out here just celebrating tonight with these guys at the SMO Hardcore Racing Group. Check these guys out. SMO-hardcore.com is the home base for Jamie and Bill and Pete and Bob and all the guys over here that make SMO home. I mean, there's so many of them, so many great guys, a lot of great personalities, and these guys are putting on one whale of a race here at the Manassas Speedway here in the lovely state of Virginia tonight. Out in the race lead, having a great race up all over this field there, Todd. Dick Jordan has scored our current race leader, but these guys, further on back, the likes of around, Kenny Tedder there, the 84 of Andy Margot. These guys have been dicing up 2 and, dare I say, almost 3 wide off of these corners, lap after lap.
Yeah, definitely a lot of racing going on out through the speedway. Oh, Andy Margot makes contact. It looks like the 5 made contact with Andy Margot. Margot up the track in front of another car. It looks like they're going to hit the outside wall, and I believe that's going to bring out a yellow flag, our very first yellow flag. No, we're still green. Wow. Andy Margot keeps it going. Maybe Joe can get a little bit of a replay there for us. We'll have to wait and see if that's maybe something of interest here in the YouTube chat box. That should light you guys up a little bit. I don't know if you guys are down there. I want you guys to see what happened there in that little bit of action that we got to see. But that was if Andy Margot held on to that. That was an amazing save by Andy Margot. And I tell you what, Andy out there racing his heart out. And I'm telling you, beautiful prepared car out there, and just a little bit of see what's going on with these guys. Again, Andy Margot still headed the right way in the right direction.
All right, Joe, I believe you're ready there with the quick replay for us. Show us what happened there. That was a great save by the 84.
Yes, sir, guys. We're going to debut our very first full velocity rewind here, paying attention to the 84 of Andy Margot. Looks like that number 5 machine of Bob Kincaid came down the track, hit the 84 down into the grass. This is almost every single time an instant wreck whenever you go through the grass, and I know David Schildhouse can fill us in a little bit about that. Once you go down there, it's slick, and it's almost an instant you're going to lose the handle on the race car as you go down through there. Comes up back in front of the 028 of Monty Keller, makes contact with the front bumper, and somehow those guys keep it straight and they keep it going forward. So very, very impressive to see those guys be able to do that. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Guys, I can tell you, as Joe was hinting at, when you get a 3,600 pound stock car onto grass at full race speed, That is not an easy thing to bring back. I mean, you are losing traction instantly, and you have no grip available. So it's almost like driving on ice. So the fact that we didn't have a wreck there is truly remarkable, and it's again a tip to the hat to the guys that are driving these cars here tonight to not have an incident. Now, fortunately, the tough part is those guys lost a lot of ground to the lead pack while they were gathering it up, but they didn't get any damage to the race cars, so they still have a fighting chance to get back in this thing, especially with the way the draft works. I wouldn't be surprised if that second group catches back up to the leaders and makes a fight out of this thing again before it's all said and done.
Yeah, definitely. Andy Margot, he has a dirt track racing background. For those of you that don't know, Andy Margot has a huge dirt tracking background. He goes to the dirt tracks around him. I know I've spoke with Andy Margot quite a bit, but Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, like you said, he's the city of champions, so he's got to be some type of Pittsburgh Steelers fan or something, or maybe the Pittsburgh Penguins. I can't throw them out because they've won stuff too. But again, a little bit of tidbit on Andy Margot. Andy Margot in his car. He drives the number 84. He's out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he served in the 2nd Armored Division at Fort Hood, Texas during the Cuban Missile Crisis and took part in Operation Big Lift, where the entire 2nd Armored Division was airlifted to Germany for a month of war games. Worst time in the military was when the Commander-in-Chief President Kennedy was assassinated, the Chief Rank Specialist SPC-4 with honorable discharge. So Andy Margot, he had his hands full for there, and he saved it. And I'm almost willing to bet that dirt track background helped him keep that car right in the right direction.
No, I bet it did. Andy, definitely a very prevalent guy on the dirt. And you say the home of champions in Pittsburgh, and I know I can segue this to our buddy Mr. Schildhouse up here, but Todd makes mention of the Pittsburgh Penguins and being in the home of champions, and if you have Sidney Crosby, you're guaranteed to win. Ain't that right there, Mr. Schildhouse?
Well, I don't want to say that anything's guaranteed in sports. I think the only thing guaranteed in life is death and taxes. But the other thing guaranteed right now are pit stops, as we see some of these guys, led by the 7 of Kenny Tedder, peel off the racetrack and head down pit road. This is a far cry from what we saw in the first round of pit stops, where everybody came together. So now you see the varying strategies play out, as you see the 61 of R.C. Jordan and the 81 of Bob Tompkins on pit road as well, along with the 76.
No, absolutely. I'm down to the 7 camp, Kenny Tedder. Let's see what they do with the 7 car this time. It's going to be at least right side tires in the air, right side tires there on the U.S. Air Force Nationwide Chevrolet. Right sides are done. They're going to come swing to the left side. Tires are going to put 2 left sides on it. Also a 4-tire pit stop for R.C. Jordan in the 61. Those 2 drivers down the way there, Todd.
It looks like the 81 and the 7 only took 2 tires. They were out on off of pit road rather quickly with the 81 of Bob Tompkins and the number 7 of Kenny Tedder. I believe took 2 tires. I could be wrong and misinformed there, and it almost looked like those guys came up on the track too early. So hopefully that don't hamper those guys. As the number 5 of Bob Kincaid was almost a lap down, so we're gonna have to wait and see what's gonna happen with those. Hopefully those guys don't receive a black flag. But I'm gonna throw it back down to Phil, who's got the leader down on pit road.
Yeah, Bill Salo pitted his Ford out of the race lead. He took 4 tires there on the 68. His work is down the way. Also saw Monty Keller on this end of pit road. Looks like it was also 4 tires for the 028. Monty having a great run tonight. Those guys down the way on this end.
It seems to be 4 tires is the way to go. Some guys took 2 tires, I guess you said as well, and we even saw somebody take 2 tires on the first round of pit stops, and I don't think that hampered them one bit. So maybe tire wear isn't as big as a deal as we thought it may be, and these guys can get away, maybe shave a few seconds off of that pit stop. Every little bit of time that you can save on pit roads. We got 1 car around in the middle of 3 and 4. That's the 68 Bill Salo. He managed to save it. Oh, what a save he made. Todd, I don't know about you, but it looked like that car was going around to me. Somehow he brought it back. These guys are driving the wheels off of it sideways.
Yeah, sideways, and that's sort of my background, dirt racing. Sliding it sideways into the corner, and Bill Salo doing a fantastic job. Great hands for the number 68 to keep it righted in the right direction and keep this green flag. Joe, I'm almost willing to bet that those guys heard us out there broadcast, because some of these guys do listen to us. If this green flag goes, they're going to make some money for the Wounded Warrior Project, and I'm sure they're out there for that right now, and I'm sure they hear it.
Oh, I'm sure they do. They're going to take every opportunity and advantage to try to keep this thing as green as possible, and try to empty out yours and mine's wallet just a little bit here, Todd. That wouldn't surprise me at all. They're doing an awesome job out there. Just past the halfway mark here tonight. 100 laps is the scheduled distance. We have just completed lap 51, started lap 52. So far you and me are up to about $7.50 right now, Todd.
Yeah, I also got to say thank you out there, William. Bill Salo donated to this cause here. The link that I've been posting in the chat box, he did that about 5 hours ago. Now Hardy out there donating to the cause, their most recent donor there. And I'm looking at this up and down. Again, thanks out there to Hardy out there. I know he's out there on YouTube watching us. Thanks, Hardy, for your donation also. We appreciate everybody that donates here, and we want to help SMO out over live air, Full Velocity Network. We want to help out SMO. We want to help out the Wounded Warrior Project. So, guys, if you got $5, just send it their way.
Oh, absolutely. Every little bit is going to go a long way to the Wounded Warriors, as every dollar is going to go to the care of our wounded veterans out there. And it's such a great and noble cause. And I'd like to thank our buddy out there, Hardy, the ambassador, if you will, of Shield House Nation out there in our chat box tonight. So, Hardy, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your donation. Thanks to everybody out there who's made a donation to this great cause. And I hope everybody out there is enjoying the show just as much as we are, David. These guys putting on one hell of a race there off of turn 2. 8 cars are broken away from the field, but these guys not and whatsoever content to sit in line. These guys are racing out there.
And those are the type of drivers that I like to watch race. No race car driver, no true race car driver wants to just sit behind his competition and follow him around a racetrack. That's not fun. That's not racing. These guys want to mix it up, and I love what I'm seeing out of these SMO Harcore drivers. It's wonderful. They're putting on a great show, as you said, here at Manassas International Speedway. And I know it looks great to us up here in the booth. It looks great for the fans as well, and I know they're having a blast behind the wheel. Todd, I don't know about you, but I love what I'm seeing.
Oh, I definitely do love what I'm seeing, and I know how hard it is to run over at SMO Hardcore. I used to run with a Momo, and I used to have a dead spot, a huge dead spot, and I come over here. This is one of those series, and these guys do run no aids out there, so the hardcore, but you're actually able to do whatever view you want. You're not forced in cockpit, but they do run no aids, and I used to run a little bit of steering assistance, like a 5% for my dead zone on my Momo, and I would come over here and I would have to relearn how to drive. But I tell you what, driving over here made me a ton better here in the other leagues that I got to run because of the no aids.
Yeah, that no aids thing, that is no joke. I mean, as a guy who, let's face it, I'm just not good. I basically never was when it comes to the sim racing thing. You come over to SMO Hardcore, just as Todd and I did for a little while here last year. Running with no aids is no joke. These guys are just top-notch drivers. I come over here, I knock the wall down more than I can remember. I got my butt handed to me night after night. These guys over here, just the cream of the crop when it comes to hardcore type racing, and can't recommend these guys enough. Just outstanding drivers, every one of these guys. And as you can see out there tonight, David, these guys clean as a whistle at these high speeds. It may not be the biggest field, but these guys are accustomed to the great racing putting on like this, and these guys are wheeling these cars around tonight. It's making for a great show for us.
Yeah, I've always been a big proponent of quality over quantity. Give me a high-quality field of 20 drivers that can put on a great show, have green flag racing, and race hard and clean versus a full field of 40 that's going to have a yellow every 5 laps, and you don't get a really high quality of product. So we may not have the biggest field, but these 11 drivers are racing their guts out, putting on one whale of a show here for us, and all the fans watching on YouTube. What more could you ask for? That's what we came out here to watch, is a race, not pacing. So it's racing, and we're seeing it. Man, it's fantastic. So, and I also wanted to make mention of the fact that I appreciate the contributions that everybody's making to the Wounded Warrior Project. It's a foundation that's near and dear to my heart, as someone that has a relative who served in World War II. Not current, but definitely the biggest, greatest war that the world has ever known, and served in the 101st Airborne. It was my grandfather. My mother's father was a paratrooper in the 101st Airborne, the Screaming Eagles Division, and he was captured at the Battle of the Bulge and made it out with stories to tell. I never got to meet him, but it's something I'm always very proud of to say that somebody in my bloodline served to fight for this country. So my appreciation to our military and everyone that supports them, because they allow us to come out and enjoy things like esports and real sports and a Saturday evening with friends and everything else that goes along with that. So thank you to everybody in our military.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't echo that enough. I think all of us in the room have been touched by, having a family member or somebody close to us serve in the military. And, we're hats off to all those guys out there that do it. We can't thank them enough for their service. Can't thank these guys at SMO enough tonight for letting us be a part of this great race for this great cause. And these guys are living up to the billing here. Still all 11 drivers left on the racetrack, 10 of them left on the lead lap, but that guy that's not on the lead lap from a speeding penalty the first time through the round of green flag pit stops, the number 5 of Bob Kincaid, Todd, he is not giving up at all. He's mixing it up there when our race leader is now Dick Jordan and Bob Tompkins. But that 5 car, we know Bob, he's not going to give up and he's not going to go away.
No, definitely not. Bob Kincaid, one whale of a racer there out there at the speedway. Of course, he's drifting back just a little bit, but he wants to keep himself in the earshot of the leaders, so maybe to get it back on the lead lap if we get a quick yellow flag, which could happen. I don't want to see it to happen. I want to see this go clean and green all the way, green to checkered here all evening long here at Manassas, and make us pay here, and that's something that we don't mind doing here at Full Velocity Network. That would be our first, and I hate to keep talking about it. This would be our first green to checkered race if it could happen, and then we have to donate, which is nothing bad. That'd be a fantastic thing.
And as I hear Joe in my other ear, and as Todd says, we're hoping for our first green to checkered race. Joe, you talk about the black cloud. We hope to have left that. We haven't really, ever brought the black cloud here with us. So hopefully Todd has kept it away. But we're past the halfway mark there, Todd. I know you were already on record picking Bill Saylor to win this race, but I think it's time for the Full Velocity picks up here from the booth. What do you think?
Yeah, indeed, I think so, and you already know my pick. I went off on a limb early, and I'm still going to stick with him. Bill Saylor, the 68, I think he's going to win this race here tonight.
All right, well, David, you're our honorary guest here alongside part of our crew up here. I'm going to give you the next pick in line just to let you out there and maybe narrow down the field for me. Take your pick.
Well, I am going to go with a number that's near and dear to my heart. We don't have a 20 car in the field tonight, and, that's okay. We don't have to have a 20 car in the field every night for me to pick it, but I am going to pick the number 7. It's another number that I love, and that's Kenny Tedder out of King, North Carolina. I'm going to go with him. He's been up front most of this race. He's led a lot of laps so far, and he looks to have the strategy and the speed to win this thing. So I'm going with the number 7, Kenny Tedder. I
like that pick, Joe Allen. Who do you got?
Well, guys, I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb, and being behind the controls here, I have the fun aspect of being able to display on the screen exactly who my pick is. It's a guy that comes out and supports us in our YouTube chat box every single night that we have a Full Velocity Network show. It's our buddy, the number 81 of Bob Tompkins Sr. I think he goes to victory lane tonight.
Not only does he support us, die-heartedly here on FEN, he's in the chat box hours ahead of time. I know I'll be the one to have my stuff set up 3-4 hours ahead of time, and most of the time I check in, there's always a message there from Bob saying he's here. So, kudos to Bob. Thanks for all the great support, and cool to see him out there. Currently our race lead, but he's got a battle on his hands there, Todd. Look to the inside. Here comes Monty Keller, and he's got help from Brian Wolf. They're moving up the inside. Almost 3 wide there now for the race lead off of turn 2.
Almost 3 wide, but not so fast, Phil. You're not going to get away that easy. You still haven't made your pick, and that was your turn to pick, and you tried to throw it away. So we need to hear your pick, Phil, on air right now.
Dang it. I was trying to get out of it. I was trying my hardest, but you're going to hold me over the fire, as you always do. But I believe pit stops are happening. I believe it's a short pitting for these guys now with 66 of 100 on the board. But if I have got to put my feet to the fire and pick one to go to victory lane, I'm going to take the number 29 of Brian Wolf. He's had a great car all night long. He's kept it clean. He's played that draft maneuver perfectly. I'm going to say the dark horse tonight is Brian Wolf. So I'm going to pick the 29, Todd, to go to victory lane.
Oh, we got our picks here tonight. The 29 of Brian Wolf for Phil Lucas. We got Kenny Tedder in the number 7. That's going to be David Schillhouse. Joe Allen has picked the 81 of Bob Tompkins Sr. And myself, I picked Bill Saylor really, really early in that number 68 machine. So those are the picks. Let's hear them down there in YouTube chat box. Chat box has been kind of slow tonight. I would like to see the business pick up just a little bit more down there in YouTube chat box. Go ahead with your picks. Who's going to win this race here this evening? We got 34 more laps, so let's see it.
All right. Well, I want to do a quick spotlight on my driver that I picked tonight. That is the number 7 of Kenny Tedder. Like I said, he's out of King, North Carolina, and he's honoring a fallen soldier out of the Air Force. That's Air Force Tech Sergeant Herman Mackey III. Sergeant Mackey was 30 years old. He was out of Bakersfield, California, and he was assigned to the 93rd Air Refueling Squadron at Fairchild Air Force Base in Washington. While serving during Operation Enduring Freedom, Sergeant Mackey was unfortunately killed in action on May 3rd, 2013. And when his KC-135 aircraft crashed. Along with him in the airship was Captain Mark Voss and Captain Victoria Pinkney, excuse me. So 3 fallen soldiers in that unfortunate crash. They're in our thoughts and our memories for serving our country, and our thanks go out to them for that, and the rest of our members there in the Air Force as well. So nice of Kenny to be honoring the member of Air Force Tech Sergeant Herman Mackey III out of Bakersfield, California. So go number 7, Kenny Tedder. Phil, I'm going to throw it over to you. What did you see on those pit stops there that those guys made? They short pitted. Again, something I'm not sure I entirely understand. What do you think the strategy is there?
Well, I'm not exactly sure they're thinking these guys got to make at least one more pit stop. I'm kind of puzzled by the whole short pitting thing. You break up, you kind of lose your draft. I mean, I'm not sure I agree with that call whatsoever. With more than 30 laps to go, you got to pit at least one more time. But, I don't know if I agree with that move whatsoever. I don't like that call coming to pit road so early. And, I don't know what you think of it there, Todd, but you got to stop at least one more time anyway. I'm not sure what the logic of their stopping, so early is. I mean, it's not one less pit stop than everybody else, but is it maybe setting up for 1 can of fuel versus, maybe got to take 2 cans on that last stop? I don't know.
I'm almost willing to bet that's what it is. 1 can of fuel, no tires. They'll get in and out real quick. But if they get a quick yellow flag or something like that happens, it's going to ruin their strategy. That's going to really, really hurt them. So, I have to go off of the limit. I don't agree with it, but I've seen some awful weird things here in NASCAR 2003 since I've been here. And I've seen people win things on fuel mileage that I never thought would happen. So, hey, it's their strategy. If they go out and win that race, we're going to be talking about them. If they don't go out and win the race, we were talking about them anyway. So they served their purpose already.
And Joe, you're a fuel strategy guy. I've seen you win races on it before. What do you think of that short pitting strategy for these guys? I'm puzzled by it myself.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm not sure that I'm a big fan of it. When you calculate the numbers, these guys are getting anywhere from 24 to 26 laps on a full tank of fuel out here. Which, if you save enough fuel, you're looking at making a 4-stop race. These guys that are short pitting just turned a 4-stop race into more of a 5-stop race, with them coming 5 to 10 laps earlier than what they actually needed to come down. So I think the guys that are able to stay out here to lap 75, lap 76-ish are probably going to be really close, or they'll be just right on the money marker to make it the full distance here, where, those grouping of cars who decided to try and short pit there, I don't know if they'll be able to make it as far as the other guys will without having to come down a second time on pit road here. As I say that, it looks like our leaders are coming down pit road as well, guys.
Well, we got this second group, so you see the second half of the strategy kicking in now for that group of Kenny Tedder, Brian Wolf, and Jamie Tedder, who short pitted now. These guys need this thing to play through, but we got the lead pack, some of the guys on the lead pack coming onto pit road. That's the 76 Wiedemeyer, the 81 at Tompkins, the 61 at Jordan here on pit road. So another 3 cars peel off. You got to have at least one buddy as you come down because of the draft, but having 2 buddies to run 3 cars in the pack as they come off pit road is going to be very beneficial. We'll see how this thing cycles out, but Joe, as a guy that races pretty actively, you got to pick your friends in these races where the draft comes in. So how do you go about picking your friends? How are you going about communicating what you want to do and sort of getting guys to buy in what you think is the winning strategy?
I think that's something that happens from the moment the green flag drops. You're sort of seeking out your friends from the beginning of the race through, I'd say, probably the 2/3 mark of the race, setting up your strategy through that last pit stop. But, as a fellow racer, and Todd and Phil can attest to this as well, when you get inside 5 laps to go, all friendships and all bets are off at that point. You don't have friends. You don't even have teammates, really. I mean, your teammates go out the window at the exact same time, because at that point it comes down to who can win the race. But I think at least getting yourself to that point, it all comes down to setting up with your friends, and determining who you're going to work with through the majority of the race to put yourself in position to win that race. And that happens from the moment the green flag drops, in my opinion.
I think, looking at these guys come to pit road, one lap ago we saw Andy Margot come down. Now on pit road, Steve Looney in the number 21, he pitted out of the race lead. He is going to be all by his lonesome. But if you look at the lap he came in there, David, he came in a lap number 75. Now splitting that up 25, 25, 25, Steve Looney, if my calculation is right, coming in this late, he may be the only guy that can roll the dice and make it from here. He may not have drafting help, but that may have been the money move right there.
It very well may prove to be the winning strategy. And one of the more astute fans in the NASCAR 2003 community, Mr. H.B. Hardy, did pick the 21 of Steve Looney to win this race. So I think there may be something to that. Now, the only thing working against that strategy and against the pick for Hardy is that Looney's running all by him lonesome. He has no drafting partner. So he's running a good 10, 15, maybe even 20 miles an hour off the pace of those guys in front of him, like the 7 of Kenny Tedder, like the 028 of Monty Keller. And now everything goes out the window as we apparently have caution number 1 on the speedway. So much for that strategy.
It definitely throws everything out the window as far as fuel strategy, setting up for a dramatic finish, setting up for what Todd was calling maybe our first flag-to-flag caution-free race on full velocity. Well, Todd Stanton, that goes all the way out the window, 3/4 away home, and now just our very first caution flag of the night.
Yeah, indeed, their very first caution of the night, and that's not what I wanted to see out there in the speedway. They're going to make me eat my own words, and they definitely did. Unfortunately, this has been a good race, so don't bar it from one yellow flag there, Phil. It's going to group these guys all back together. Look at the benefactor of this. It should be, I believe, the number 5 machine, because he wasn't involved in that. Kincaid should be back on the lead lap. I know he spun coming off of pit road there, but Kincaid should be able to get back on the lead lap. I'm not sure if they get lucky dogs. I may be going off on a limb, but maybe Kincaid gets his lap back. But I'm going to throw it down to Mr. Joe Allen, Joey the Jet. He's down there in the broadcast trailer with that replay of what happened out there.
All right, thank you, Todd. We're going to throw it back down here for our second edition of Full Velocity Rewind. We're going to focus our attention on the number 84. That's Andy Margot, the 61 of Dick Jordan. My pick, Bob Tompkins in the 81, right around that as well. Throw this thing in slow motion. It looks like just a bad bump down the back straightaway going into turn 3. Andy Margot out of the way, trying to give the bottom line, the preferred groove to stay within the rule book. And bad bump from the 61 of Dick Jordan actually sends him down into the 81 of Bob Tompkins. We'll throw that back in replay here. Looks like he just gets off the front bumper of the 81 of Bob Tompkins, and that sends them into trouble. He comes back up into traffic into the 76 of Matt Wiedemeyer. Looks like the 61 doesn't really collect any more damage. I think Matt Wiedemeyer probably is going to get the worst end of the stick here as he backs that car into the fence up there through turns 3 and 4, guys. And that's going to be our first caution of the evening. Just a bad bump. Guys trying to, give and take, give some room to stay within the rule books here as far as that no low lining rule goes. And it turned into some calamity and some catastrophe going down into turn 3 and tore up about 3 cars. So that's our first caution of the evening. Back up to you guys in the booth.
All right, first caution flag of the night coming out on lap number 76 here. So we'll pause this a couple of seconds here as they work around that beautifully prepared SMO Wounded Warrior pace car that was put out here just specially for this evening. Great work to Andy Margot on that paint scheme, on that pace car. And let's not talk about Andy. Let's talk to Andy Margot. See if we can't dial up the driver of the 84, the pride of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as we've coined here many a times on our airwaves. The home of champions is in PA there in Pittsburgh. And let's see if we can't talk to Mr. Andy Margot. Andy, is Phil Lacasse on Full Velocity, buddy? You have a copy?
Yeah, Phil, how you doing?
I'm doing outstanding, my friend. How are you doing out there? The racing out there looks to be absolutely superb tonight. Manassas is certainly living up to the billing. And, we're out here, of course, raising money and raising awareness for our friends at the Wounded Warrior Project. Just an awesome night. Tell us about how your night's been.
It's been great up until that bad bump. That was one of my teammates. I was sort of went up to let them get by, and he thought I needed a bump to get me going. I was actually on a fuel deal there. I was saving some fuel. I think I could have made it. And
we bantered that ourselves, Andy. I'm sorry to step on you. We bantered that ourselves. Could anybody make it from fuel strategy from there? You were saving it. The question is, could you save enough to make it all the way to the end there?
Yeah, I think I could have. I think Looney was on the same strategy.
I think he was as well. I think he pitted one lap later. I thought that was an awesome play by you guys, but it's always great to come out to SMO, Andy, and see all you guys, see Jamie, Bob, all the gang over here. And all the racing over here night after night I keep up has been really, really superb. Our viewers out there who maybe just be tuning in, tell everybody out there what you guys at SMO Hardcore are all about and all the principles you guys live by, because you guys have been at it for a long time and are certainly a top-notch league.
Yeah, our motto is we race fun. We have a good time. We respect each other. We give and take. And I think you can see that tonight. There's a lot of that.
We certainly see it tonight. It's been a fantastic race. And Andy, hopefully no bench sheet metal on that car. Is that thing all right? You going to be able to make another run here at the front of the field and maybe put your way in victory lane here in about 22 laps?
We're good. We're going for it now.
All right, buddy. Well, I'm going to give you a second, just in case we don't get you on the post race. I want to give you a shout out, a chance to shout out to all your friends, your fans, your sponsors, your family, anybody who may be watching you live on Full Velocity tonight.
Well, I definitely want to thank Jamie for setting this all up. He sets up all our races on FVN. And thank you guys for having us and doing such a great job. Definitely want to thank the our military that does such a good job so that we can sit here and do this in the comfort of our homes and the safety of our homes. And of course, Wounded Warriors, you people out there, anybody want to donate, hopefully there's a link there somewhere where you can donate, put it for SMO. So that's about it, guys. Thanks a lot. We're going to pull these belts tight and go racing.
Absolutely, Andy. We'll give that a whirl. And once again, my friend, always good to talk to you. And I'm sure we'll do this again here real soon. So give that 84 a good ride. I mean, as I said, we call it the home of champions there in Pittsburgh. I'm sure you're going to give that thing a good ride here and try to go to the front. So have some fun, my friend. Good to talk to you once again.
Thank you.
All right, Andy Margot, guys. Good to talk to him as always. Always good to talk to some of these longtime drivers anytime we come to SMO. And Andy's just one of those on those long list of guys.
Yeah, it's good to see the longtime veterans of a series continue to support, come out and run, and he's a shining example of that. But quickly, I just want to make note of this before we jump back to this restart. Another donation just came through, and that's from my man, HB Hardy. Another big $20 donation to the Wounded Warrior Project. So, Hardy, you're amazing. You are the legend, and we all love you so much for your generosity, as always. So thank you for that. And Hardy, your man, Steve Looney, is leading the field back to green here as they work their way off of turn 4 down into the restart zone. Green flag's out. We're back underway with 20 laps to go, Todd, as they spill down into turn 1.
Yeah, echo that sentiments to HB Hardy. Thank you, HB Hardy, for your donations, your contributions, should say, to the NASCAR 2003 community. We love it. Fantastic job, brother. We're out there racing, like you said there, the number 21 of Steve Looney out there in the lead. The 68 of Bill Salo running in second. That's my pick, Hardy. Look out. He's coming for you down to the bottom side, the number 68, as I go grab a drink here.
Yeah, drink sounds good. I just chugged one down myself here. Good race for the lead going on. Bill Salo down to the inside of Steve Looney. Thought Monty Keller would bring that Chevrolet to the inside, maybe fill that gap, but Steve Looney able to slam back to the inside lane, and he's going to come back on the march there, David. Steve Looney may have lost a lead, but a half a corner later, he pulls to the inside, and he's going to propel that 21 right back to the front. I think our buddy Hardy may know what he's talking about out there.
Wouldn't be the first time I've said that in my life. Hardy knows what he's talking about. But no, the 21 of Steve Looney would not be denied there. He's working the draft like a master. And remember, these guys, once they get to 10 laps to go, they can block in low line. So they're 9 laps away, coming to 8 laps away from being able to block that low line. That's when it's really going to get dicey, as the 81 of Bob Tompkins surges to the lead with the 29 of Wolf pushing him down on that low line. The 76 of Wiederman going as well. Weedy must have eaten his Wheaties this morning. He's in P3 as they go through 1 and 2.
Yeah, going through 1 and 2, Bob Tompkins, senior, your current race leader. And that number 81 machine, Brian Rolfe, right there in second. Now, guys, down to the bottom side as as the 81 of Bob Tompkins Sr. lifts off the throttle up the track for the number 81. He's going to drop back through the field here as the 29 of Brian Wolf now inherits the lead. Second will be Matt Wiedemeyer in that number 76 machine. Third will be the number 910 of Jamie Tedder. He's been sneakily pretty quiet in that number 910 machine. He's been inside the top 5. I really have not seen him lead a lot of laps in that 910 machine. There's David Schildhouse's pick, the number 7 of Kenny Tedder. He's running in position number 4 on the speedway. Bill Salo running 5th. Now the number 29 of Brian Wolf drifts up the track. Now it is the number 76 of Matt Wiedemeyer's turn to lead this race.
And David, at what point here, as you talked about, 10 laps to go or less, you can throw a block here. You can low line, which is, the complete opposite what the first 90 laps are going to be. At this point, have you done all your homework at this point, gauging how much of the run you can have, how much time you're going to give yourself to carve your way through this field and maybe put yourself in that lead spot? And can you throw the block and keep these guys behind you for 10 laps if you can do so?
Yeah, there's a lot to driving a race car, whether it's a real race car or a sim race car. And part of that responsibility to being a race car driver is using your brain to analyze and remember things and patterns. And sort of, like I said earlier in the broadcast, think of this like a chess match. You got to think 5 to 6 steps ahead, or in this case, 5 or 6 laps ahead of where you are as we see the number 7 go to the low side. You got to be thinking, I need to be up front on the bottom lane when we get 10 laps to go. How do I do that? So you don't want to make your move too soon, but you got to do your due diligence and do your homework, to your point, to make sure you put yourself in the best position possible when you get to that 10 laps to go, and you can block that low line, because that's really going to be the key to winning, as we have changes for the lead happening at least 57 times while I've been talking.
Yeah, definitely about 57 times. Bill Salo now to the lead in the number 68 machine. The 81 of Bob Tompkins Sr. right there following suit. Kenny Tedder was your leader. Now he's dropping himself back through the field. You got to position yourself in this race. I'm telling you right now, you're on lap 80. Well, we're getting ready to complete lap 85. We're going to start at 86. So we're going to be on 14 laps to go here. And you got to really think where you're going to position yourself. Once these guys drop to the low line, what's going to happen here? You really got to position yourself to be in that lead on the lead lap and have your chance to win this race here. I should say, as you drop down to the bottom side of the speedway and be able to throw those blocks. So you want to make sure, like David said, it's a high-speed chess match here at Manassas. You got to think what's going to happen before it's going to happen.
And I got to ask Joe the question here, because he's got all the fancy cameras down here with all the great looks. All 11 drivers there in that lead pack, Joe, so all still in contention to win this thing. The question is now, if you're getting down to that coveted 10 laps to go, where you can throw this blocker, where are you comfortable right now being on the speedway? Where do you want to position yourself now if you want to get yourself up to that lead with about 10 laps to go? Where do you want to be, and who do you like right now?
I'm looking at Kenny Tedder in the 7, and I'm looking at Bill Salo in the 68. I like where those two are at. They're right around the front of the field, as we see, some contact there, it looks like, with the 7 and I believe the 028. But I liked where those guys were sitting. Now, obviously, this is going to certainly change up the dynamic of this race, guys. So I'm going to throw it back up to you guys in the booth. I got some work to do.
Yeah, you do. Second caution flag of the night, Todd. Things were getting a little bit of dicey there off of, I believe, turn number 2. Give us a quick glimpse of what happened there. Looks like something around with a 7 of Kenny Tedder. Looks like Jamie Tedder and Monty Keller, all those guys may be involved in what looks like could be a multiple car incident. Tough break for these guys.
Well, it looked like it's only one car incident. Unfortunately, it was on a contact to somebody else's bumper, maybe. I'm not 100% positive. I'm not an admin, so I'm not going to make that type of call. But the 7 is indeed around. His back end's crushed in pretty well there. Kenny Tedder, not the night he's wanting to have here. His back end of his car is crushed. The side fenders are smashed in a little bit, but hopefully they can repair that down on pit road and maybe come back and run. But I'm going to throw it down to Mr. Joe Allen, Joey the Jet, with our replay here for caution, number 2 of the evening.
Yes, sir, guys. We're going to focus our attention here on that number 7 machine of Kenny Tedder, as we discussed live while the race. It looks like the 028 of Monty Keller there is actually down in the middle. They're about 3 wide, and that gap closes up really, really quick. Really no room. 028 almost gets into Kenny right there, goes back down the track, saves it, comes back up into the track, just tags him in the left rear quarter panel there. That's going to send Kenny Tedder up into the wall. He nosedives that number 7 machine into the wall, collects the rear end back into the wall, so he's going to have some heavy rear end damage possibly some heavy front end damage and potential motor damage, because he took a headfirst dive straight into the turn 3 and 4 wall. Tough break for Kenny Tedder in that 7. Tough break for David Schildhouse. We know that was your pick tonight, David. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Well, I don't want to claim Black Cloud on that one. I really don't, just because I picked him to win. But that is really an unfortunate break for Kenny Tedder. He had a great run, and I think he was positioning himself to sort of be in that right place at the right time when they got to 10 to go. I was watching his pit stall. The crew was really hard at it, getting the rear bumper reformed, getting the front bumper sort of fixed back up as best they could to make this thing cut through the air as quickly as possible. But he still has some leftover side effects and some missing body work. And God, I've had a number 7 car that looked like that a time or two, and we'll hope for the best here. But that sets us up for a really exciting shootout here, Phil, as we're going to go green with maybe 9 laps to go. Blocking and low lining will be in effect. So, Phil, I'll put it to you. If you're, say, 3rd, 4th place right now, say you're the 68 of Bill Salo, what are you thinking at this point as you're getting ready to come down to this restart, knowing you're starting on the inside in 3rd, and you got a few laps left to go?
Well, unfortunately here, you're going to be starting 3rd car in line because these guys are going to start single file on the restart, but I'm okay if he's that, a 3rd car in line even, maybe even on the outside, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to have that head of speed, using the draft off of turn number 2, and I'm going to try to make that dive to the left-hand lane, with that great, that great pull you get off the 3rd car in line. I think he may have the whole shot move, and if these guys up front don't throw the block, which he may be faster, I think the 68 may be able to make that run down to the inside and maybe, Todd, claim that race lead. I think that's a good place to be out there. May not be double file restarts, but you know how the draft works in a place like Manassas here, like it does, much like at Michigan with the high speeds of the draft. 3rd car in line sometimes is definitely the place to be.
Yeah, definitely a place to be, and that's probably not the guy you want me to talk about here tonight. Bill Salo is because I did pick him, and obviously Bill Salo. That's one of those things that's going to happen. But look at Bob Tompkins out in the lead. He's going to do everything he can to keep that lead. I almost guarantee he wants a full Velocity Network win. What about the 29 of Brian Wolf? There's got to be some fans out there that's pulling for Brian Wolf. I'm one of them too. Yeah, I may have picked Bill Salo tonight, but Brian Wolf, I would always enjoy to see the number 29 win here. I know there's got to be some fans out there, maybe even that's going to watch the broadcast. He's another huge supporter of the Full Velocity Network, just like Bob Tompkins. This whole league, SMO, I can't say enough. They all support Full Velocity Network. This league's fantastic, top notch. I mean, if you got ever a shot to want to come out and try a league, it's SMO Harcore, guys. These guys are fantastic out there, and I know there's a lot of fans out there that are watching these guys over and over, and they'll watch the replays. And these guys will go back and watch this replay. Fantastic job with the pace car too, by the way. I gotta give a hats off to this pace car because it's beautiful.
No, it is. It's absolutely stunning out there, and Andy Margot did a great job putting this paint scheme together, and just this awesome looking race cars out there. Everybody out there, got a theme of a branch of the service out there. See the Air Force, see the Army, see the Navy, see the Marines out there. So, all 4 branches of the military out there represented. And it's been an awesome night here live on Full Velocity as we raise money for the Wounded Warrior Project, raising awareness. All donations coming in are all going to go to this great cause called the Wounded Warriors. And what better way to celebrate and honor our military here, the men and women that serve this great nation, than an awesome race that these guys at SMO put on here tonight. Now with under 10 laps to go, as our buddy David Schildhouse would say, drama and implications going to come out here in these last 10 laps, David. We're going to see an awesome race to the finish.
Yeah, that's what we're all going to be expecting as race fans here, is we're going to get this restart with 8 laps to go. And thank you for correcting me on the restart formation. It is single file, so Bob Tompkins isn't going to have to worry about a guy starting next to him. So Bob Tompkins is out front. He's sort of in the catbird seat, if you will, because now he can move down. He doesn't have to move up and get out of these guys' way. He can block. He can low line. So it's up to the 29 of Brian Wolf, the 68 of Bill Salo, and others to find a way around the 81. Gosh, who was it that picked the 81 to win? I think that was Joe. Man, that looks like a good pick right now. Joe, I don't know. How are you feeling right now about that pick?
Oh, I'm a little concerned with it. Just I don't like being out in front like he is with as many laps as they have to go. It's going to take a lot of blocking to keep himself out there. And guys like Brian Wolf and the 68 of Bill Sallow that are hungry for a win here on the Full Velocity Network. They're not going to make it easy on him either.
All right, guys, we're getting ready for the restart. Here is where we're just all up here hooting and hollering, having a great time here. Green flag is back in the air. Looks like Bob Tompkins may have spun the tires a little bit there, Todd. Brian Wolf all over his back bumper. The question is, can Bob hold it to the low line? The question so far through tournament 1 and 2, the answer is yes. Looks like Bob Tompkins is going to maintain that lead off of turn 2.
Yeah, definitely going to maintain that lead. Off of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Brian Wolf was trying to make a move down there on the apron, that number 29 machine. I believe he was trying to get around Bob Tompkins Sr., and then he thought better of it, backed out of it. Here comes Bill Salo. These guys, oh boy, out of shape just a little bit. Bill Salo in the middle. He was meeting the sandwich. Bob Kincaid backs out of it. No longer 3 wide. They're only 2 by 2 here, but that was a wise decision on the 60. Oh, there's 7 hard into the wall once again. That's Kenny Tedder. That's not what he wanted to see.
Gosh, my poor guy's taking a beating out here, but the racing up front is unbelievable right now, guys. They are beating and banging as they go through these turns. They are riding that inside yellow lane on the apron, trying to hold that lane as Bill Tompkins holds serve out front, but they are not giving each other much room between 4th place, Andy Margot and Bob Kincaid. Oh my goodness, they are getting after it as these laps wind down. We're coming down to 6 laps to go, Phil. I need a drink. I'm freaking out here. This is great.
Yeah, it absolutely is great. As these guys are just digging, getting all they can off of turn 4. Awesome race there for that 4th spot. Andy Margot just trying to shove his way through underneath Bob Kincaid. They're leaning all over each other. Great race for 4th. But we look out here, Todd, as the laps are winding down. 94 on the board. Bob Tompkins, the 81, he's our race leader. He is glued to the inside of the racetrack, and everybody jockeying for that inside lane. I can't believe these guys haven't made more contact than they have.
The 84 of, I'm telling you, Andy Margot's making some wholesale passes on the 5 of Kincaid there as Andy Margot puts himself up to that 4th position. These guys are letting it all hang out here this evening in Manassas. These guys are fantastic driving 3 wide, 2 wide. These guys are not giving an inch. There's Bob Tompkins Sr. still leading in that number 81 machine coming down the back straightaway to 29. Brian Wolf looking for any way he can to get around him. Bill Salo running in that 3rd spot. Andy Margot, Kincaid, the 61, and Dick Jordan now involved. That's R.C. Jordan, Dick Jordan in that number 61 machine. Oh, the contact with Steve Looney. Looney around.
We got trouble in turns 3 and 4. We got 3 cars around. The 21 of Looney, the 76 Wheaties around. Oh my goodness, this is going to change everything, guys, as they are racing back to the caution.
They are racing back to the caution, 96 laps in. The question is, and I think the answer is going to be yes, do we get a shootout here? My math is correct there, Todd. Could it be a 1-lap shootout? What better way than to end this race, which has been spectacular, than a spectacular 1-lap shootout here live on a Saturday night on Full Velocity? Does it get better than that?
So we're looking here, looking as I was trying to take a drink and my favorite beverage here in front of me and trying to get everything going. But I know Mr. Joe Allen's ready down there in the broadcast booth. I'm going to take another drink and get ready for this last few stages of this event. So Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Todd. We're going to focus our attention here on the number 21 of Steve Looney. I believe that was Hardy's pick down there in the chat. So I think for the first time, guys, we can pass the black cloud from the booth down to the YouTube chat box. So that's a little interesting take to think about. Anyways, we're going to throw this thing in slow motion, replay the 910 of Jamie Tedder all over the back bumper of the 21 of Steve Looney as they go down into turn 3 here at Manassas. And it looks like they're doing everything they can to try and gain as much as they can, and just a bad bump in the middle of turns 3 and 4 gets into the number 76 of Matt Wiedemeyer. Looks like Jamie Tedder starts to spin as well. Looney hard into the outside wall with the right side of that race car, unfortunately. Comes back down. Andy Margot looks like Andy has nowhere to go as he's coming down here through the wreck as well, and looks like he misses all 3 cars. Heck of a job by Andy. It looks like Matt Wiedemeyer noses his race car up into the fence as well. Jamie Tedder just spinning down, doing cyclones on the racetrack. I don't think he makes any contact with the wall or anything, and we see Kenny Tedder in the 7 here, guys. I think Kenny's probably, looks like he may be able to get through it. Not sure if the racetrack is cleared as he's coming through here. It looks like it is, so Kenny Tedder shouldn't have any issues going through there, as well as we see Looney getting himself flipped back around, going the right direction through the grass here. So Drama and implications, David Schildhouse. Drama and implications.
Our two favorite words when it comes to sim racing, especially this time of year, drama and implications. The other aspect of that, you can't forget this, is getting aggressive, and these boys were getting aggressive. You couldn't fit a sheet of paper between these cars at some points during that run there. We were all gasping in the booth. And eventually, when push came to shove, aggressive went around. That's all I have to say about that, Phil. I'll let you have it.
Man, I was hoping he was going there. It's one-liners. The brilliance is only the champ David Schildhouse can give it. It's basically the short guy, the tall guy, and two, I guess, young, good-looking guys up here tonight in the broadcast booth. Phil Lacasse, Joe Allen, Todd Stanton, and David Schildhouse alongside tonight, hanging out with our buddies at SMO. And Todd, I just got to take a quick shot at our buddy, the rookie up here, the champ David Schildhouse. He may win on the racetrack, but we're veterans up here in the broadcast booth, and I'm looking at the top three. You know, I believe you picked Bill Salo. He's currently third. Joe picked Bob Tompkins, our current race leader. I picked Brian Wolf, who's currently sitting in that second spot. Show these broadcast rookies a thing up here. You know, experience with these guys. You look at our picks, 1, 2, 3. David, you'll learn over time. Ain't that right, Todd?
You just don't know, Phil. That just may have hurt us. I know. You just put the black cloud over all three of them. Come on, Phil. The 81 of Bob Tompkins. I'm sure he didn't want to hear that. Brian Wolf. I know he didn't want to hear it. Bill Salo. They didn't want to hear it. I cannot believe you just put the black cloud over all three of them guys.
Listen, I can't help that my guy, the poor 7, Jamie Tedder's been bounced around like a pinball out here since I picked him. He looked great. He looked great up until that point, but he's been bounced around a whole bunch and nothing of his doing. I'm sorry, that's Kenny Tedder in the 7. My apologies. I'm getting my Tedders mixed up. Doesn't happen when you have a last name like Schildhouse, but guys, I'm watching the flagman here. I want to see us get one to go, because if we can get one to go here, then we can get one green flag lap to wrap this thing up. Otherwise, it is Bob Tompkins' race win. So let's watch the flagman as they come out of turn 4 here, Phil.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to, some stunning play-by-play going to happen right here. So tune in. They work their way off of turn number 4 behind the beautifully prepared SMO Harcore Wounded Warrior Project pace car. We've seen that, a little bit more of that thing through the last half of this race than we wanted to see. Will the lights go out? Let's see. The question and the answer is, they get down to the line. The lights go out, guys. We're going to get one more time around here under the green flag to settle this thing tonight. The Wounded Warrior Project tribute race from our friends at SMO Harcore, live here on Full Velocity. Is it going to be Bob Tompkins taking the win here tonight? Brian Wolf's going to restart second. Bill Salo third. Andy Margot fourth. Bob Kincaid is currently fifth. R.C. Jordan currently 6th, Monty Keller 7th, Matt Wiedemeyer 8th, Kenny Tedder 9th, Steve Looney Clarkson currently 10th, and Jamie Tedder the 9-10. He's going to be shotgun on the restart of the 11 cars. Full field rundown sponsored by your friends at the Full Velocity Network. Find us at fullvelocitynetwork.com. Book your date now. Dates are filling up fast. Have a showcase like no other. The highlights of the ultimate esport experience right here live on Full Velocity. And Todd Stanton, can you think of a better way to end on a Saturday night? A one-lap shootout at SMO Harcore here live on a Saturday night. Strap those belts in one more time, partner. It's about to get real.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what's going to happen here with the number 81 of Bob Tompkins Sr. and the 29 of Brian Wolf, the 68 of Bill Salo. These guys are going to mix it up out here on the speedway. On Manassas, everything's out the window, including the kitchen sink. Everybody's going to throw everything they have out the window. But I'm going to give it to Schildhouse. Take it away, Schildhouse.
All right, pace car makes the hard left turn onto pit road. I can't even find words at this point. I'm so excited to see what happens here. The 81, Bob Tompkins, he's eyeballing the flagman. Green flag in the air. They're going across the start-finish line. He got a much better restart that time. Did not spin the tires. The 29 of Brian Wolf doesn't have a play. As they go off into turn 1, it's going to have to happen down the backstretch or down into turn 3. He's going to need some help from behind from the 68 of Salo, but he's not close enough to make that push, Phil.
No, not quite there yet as they work their way up for turn 2. Bob Tompkins is a little bit squirrely, trying to keep that thing glued down to that yellow line as they sprint down the back straightaway. Bob Tompkins with the lead. Brian Wolf right there. But here comes the outside lane. Todd, Bill Salo side by side for second. Do they have enough time to make that run, or is this Bob Tompkins' race to win off of turn 4?
It looks like it's going to be Bob Tompkins' race to win. Here comes Brian Wolf. He almost cuts off 68 to Salo, but it's going to be Bob Tompkins Sr. taking down the win. The 29 of Brian Wolf, second. Bill Salo, third. So look, guys, at the start, they came across the start-finish line before the green flag that way. They're going to finish that way. Great win for Bob Tompkins Sr., his first Full Velocity Network win. I'm sure he's going to be really, really ecstatic, and this is for such a great cause, and I know he'll be ecstatic. Bob Tompkins Sr., again, congratulations to the top 3. They're all going to get interviewed. I know Brian Wolf's got to be ecstatic, too, in that number 29 machine. Always a pleasure to talk to Brian Wolf and Bill Salo. All the guys here at SMO Harcore Racing, they did a fantastic job. What a great one-lap shootout.
What a fantastic finish. Unbelievable. I thought for a moment that the 29 of Brian Wolf was going to be able to get a push from the 68. It just never materialized, and it let Tompkins just drive that thing home for the win here tonight. So my hat's off to him. Fantastic job as we see these boys now come around to the front stretch, parking it right on top of that Wounded Warrior Project logo there in the middle of the infield to get a great moment on camera there. Because that's why we're here tonight, to recognize the Wounded Warrior Project. They all have the special paint schemes, and we're all honoring the Wounded Warrior Project. So you see it there. Fantastic job, a fantastic race, and a beautiful tribute to everything to wrap things up here tonight.
Yeah, what an awesome race. Congratulations to the guys at SMO and raising, awareness for the Wounded Warriors, and what an awesome image we have here. All these drivers around the Wounded Warrior Project logo. A fitting way here as we transition to our post-race show, and we'll let Joe Allen run down to victory lane. I know he's got to be ecstatic to go down there and just interview the legend. What we know is Bob Tompkins Sr., probably our most devout supporter over the years here on Full Velocity. I think I'm going to send Todd down to get our runner-up finisher, that being Mr. Brian Wolf there. And I believe I'm going to, throw it down to our buddy, Mr. David Schildhaus. He's done an awesome job with that great radio voice going on here tonight. I'm going to let him carry my weight a little bit more. I'm going to throw it down to David, who I think is going to catch up with our third place finisher. That, of course, Bill Salo, the 68. So, David Schildhaus, down to you, buddy. Take it away.
Thanks, Phil. I got third place finisher Bill Salo here. Bill, fantastic run tonight. You were picked by one of our esteemed announcers to take the victory. You came close. Third ain't bad. Fun race tonight, definitely for a good cause with the Wounded Warrior Project. Tell me about your run here tonight.
Oh, it was a pretty good run. We had a great car. The team put together a great car to run with. It could get up to the front. We could cruise in the back, try to save some fuel. Then I had a little mental lapse there and fell out of the draft. Weedy worked with me, get a Marine pushing a Army grunt and get things done. Had a great run. We enjoyed it.
It looked great from our perspective up in the booth. Now, I'm looking through, and I was highlighting you earlier saying you love to run up top, love to run along the wall. You had to run the low side here tonight. That seemed to be the best way to go around. Were you trying to size something up with Brian or communicating with Brian there in the last lap to try and coordinate something to get around the 81 there at the end?
I wasn't trying to work with Brian. He wasn't on my whisper key, but the teammates were behind me, and we were trying to work up, see if we couldn't work around the outside of them. And Brian held it up pretty good and held on to that second. He did a great job.
Yeah, it was a fantastic run up there for Brian as well, and we're going to hear from him here in a little bit. But Bill, you're a two-time champion here at SMO in the Nationwide Series back in 2011 and 2013. So you've been around, you've won championships, you've won races, and you bring a lot to the series. So I'm going to hand the microphone over to you, let you drop some words of wisdom and say hello to those out there. The mic's all yours, my friend.
Appreciate it. First off, want to thank all you guys in the booth for the great job you do. We always enjoy your races and love to listen to them. First to thank our military, past, present, and future, for everything that they give up to serve our country. They do a great job. Next, I want to throw a shout out to my granddaughter, Amanda Apple. She's serving in the Army out in Fort Lewis. Just got married today. I doubt that she's watching, but if she is, congratulations. Next, the Hard Chargers teammates, they're always there, do a great job with us, and the admins at SMO, which I'm proud to be associated with. They do a great job. Thank you.
There you have it. That's third place finisher tonight, Bill Salo out of Champlin, Minnesota. Great run for him tonight. We're going to throw it over to Todd Stanton there. He's caught up with our second place finisher, Brian Wolf.
Yeah, indeed, I've caught up with our second place finisher here tonight, the driver of the number 29, Brian Wolf. Brian, I was ecstatic to see you up there in that top three, buddy. Hey, I'm always pulling for you, no matter what, secretly in any of these league races I'm at. Big supporter of Full Velocity Network, big supporter, period. But Brian, tell us about your race there. What was going through your mind that last lap?
Oh man, I just needed Tompkins to make a mistake. I'll tell you what, man, I am just beside myself to finally get in here and talk to you guys. It was a good race all around, man. Really proud of these guys. I mean, just the charity we raced for, and the regular our regular point series. These guys race the same every time, and it's just you take the best racers on the web and throw them all together, and this is what you got, SMO. I'll tell you what, I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, great second place finish here tonight, Brian. And you guys want green flag for a very, very long time, and unfortunately, I threw the black cloud out there like I always do, and of course, we get a yellow flag, and that was unfortunate because we were doing 15 cents a lap, actually 30 cents a lap here of green flag running here, but we still did get a lot of donations out there. We got some donations from some of the guys down there in the YouTube chat box. Hardy was out there. There's a few other donations that have been going through here, and we've been announcing them. Brian, your race was fantastic here tonight, second place. Were you going to work with anybody? Did you have any in-race communication with those guys at the end, or you were just flying solo out there and then hoping, like you said, you were hoping for this mistake, but were you flying solo majority of the time?
No, actually, I had my teammates there, but that after that last second to the last caution, my teammates kind of fell back. And under 10 to go, we can low line and block and that kind of thing. So at the very end, I was up there pretty much by myself. I just had to hold that spot, and again hoped Bob, the 81 or the 81 made a mistake, but he just didn't. He did the smart thing. He did the right thing, and the most important thing to me is I feel safe racing with these guys, teammates or not, and. Man, I don't know what to say. I've been waiting for this moment for a long, long time. This is like a win to me, just to be able to do this good against this caliber of drivers is just tremendous.
Again, congratulations on your second place finish here tonight, Brian. I'm just as ecstatic for you, buddy. It's great to see you come up here, and I'm able to talk to you here this evening on a podium finish. But I'm going to give you the microphone. Floor is all yours, Brian. Thank whoever you'd like to thank here on the Full Velocity Network.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely want to thank our first responders, our military, like the thing that we raced for. Because, without them fighting for our freedoms, we don't get to enjoy this type of thing and pay tribute. So I want to thank them. I want to thank you guys, FVN. You guys bring an element to this hobby of ours that makes it so exciting and fun to do. And I want to thank my teammates, SMO, for putting the race on, Jamie Tedder, of course. And I want to give a shout out to anybody in the YouTube thing, any friends, family might be watching. I'll dedicate my race to my Uncle Rick, who did serve as captain in the Air Force. Lost him to cancer a few years back. But what a fun night. I'll tell you what. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity, and thank everybody involved. It was a lot of fun. Thank you guys.
Again, congratulations on your second place finish here tonight, Brian. And go down there and get a sip of get a drink and chill out with those guys. They put on a fantastic show as well as you did here tonight.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And congratulations to Bob too. He did a great job.
All right, that's Brian Wolf. I'm going to throw it down to Mr. Joe Allen, Joey the Jet. He's down in Victory Lane, I'm sure, with a pretty ecstatic Bob Tompkins Sr. He's got to win on Full Velocity Network. Not only does he watch us, he's got to win too.
Yes, sir, guys. I've caught up down here in our Full Velocity Gatorade Victory Lane with a very, very happy Bob Tompkins. And guys, for our first show over at SMO's FVN, I couldn't think of a better guy to be interviewing down here in Victory Lane for our first time. Bill, you come out, you support us every night that we're on the air. You're sitting in our chat box hours before the show, just waiting to hear us up here in the booth, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate the unfounded support that you have given us since we've gotten this thing rolling. But tonight, it's all about you, Bob. It's not about us, it's about you. You went out there, you got the lead with 12 laps to go, you got some caution breaks in there, and you had to block your butt off to keep that number 81 machine out front. Tell us about your night, man.
Well, what a great night. This is really cool. 3 weeks ago, I turned 79 years old. This is my birthday gift. I want to thank SMO, Jamie, Andy, Bill, Bob, Mike, all the admin, all the members of SMO. You guys are great. I changed my direction in this race. Before I come in, I said, I'm not going to just come out and be one of the drivers. I'm going after the win. And it worked. I really appreciate it.
Well, Bob, from all of us at FVN, a happy belated birthday to you. It's awesome for, like I said, I mean, it goes without saying, you are arguably one of the biggest supporters that we have at FVN with our fan base. And, you know, your attention to detail and you coming out and watching our races every night that we're live on the air does not go unnoticed. And I can't think of a better person to get the SMO first win recorded on the Full Velocity Network and it going to you. It's an awesome thing. Thank you again for everything you've done for us at FVN with all the support. And congratulations tonight. You went out there, you drove a heck of a race. I think by the time it was all said and done, you led 30 laps tonight, Bob. That is the most laps led in the race by any driver. Congratulations. That is awesome. I'm going to give you the mic one more time. I know you said some thank yous. If you got anybody else you want to thank, anything else that you want to say on the air here before we let you go, the floor is all yours, my friend.
First of all, I have to thank my wife. She's put up with me doing this for probably 17, 18 years. I want to thank all the guys at SMO. You guys are really cool. Everything you do. Thanks to the crew. You guys are really good. You're awesome. You do a good job. About all I have to say. I'm just happy.
All right, guys. That's a very happy Bob Tompkins Sr. here tonight down in Victory Lane. The first of hopefully many winners to come that we'll interview over here at the SMO Hardcore League. Phil, Todd, David, awesome show up in the booth tonight, guys. Phil, I don't think we could have picked a better person to have to interview in Victory Lane for our first time over here at SMO. I'm so happy for Bob and all those guys down there on his team. Hard-fought victory for him, but I'm super proud of him. My pick, that only helps my standings in our fantasy pick standings between us broadcasters here, but I'm super excited for him.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, Joe, and I have all these memories of the times we broadcast at SMO. Of course, I mentioned earlier, you know, tugging the heartstrings with Bob Kincaid's victory here a couple of years ago. I can't remember a time where I ever stood up and did like the icky shuffle and, you know, almost spiked my drink coming down beside me, seeing Bob Tompkins come to the checkered flag. Bob has done so much for us over the years as far as support and just being such a gentleman and a good sport. And I can't be any happier than seeing a guy like Bob Tompkins, Todd, in Victory Lane.
Well, that was a fantastic event. This was my first time seeing the guys here at SMO Hardcore race, and I walked away from this thoroughly impressed with what we saw tonight over the course of 100 laps. Just fantastic racing, start to finish. And I've never heard of Bob Tompkins, you know, in the sim racing community. Unfortunately, I just haven't been exposed to him. I've seen him in the chat box for sure, but I haven't seen him race before. And to hear him talk and to hear his interview, you hear the joy and the joy of everybody that we interviewed. Even Brian Wolf was ecstatic, especially to talk to us and to run well tonight. So I love the vibrant energy that SMO Hardcore and their drivers have and breathe into this community themselves. So my hat's off to them. A great job, great interview, and honestly, I want to be like Bob Tompkins Sr. when I grew up. I mean, how cool is he? I'm tickled by his interview there, Todd. That was really cool.
Yeah, definitely Bob Tompkins Sr., stand-up guy. Everybody here at SMO, they're stand-up individuals. They've always been, like I said, Full Velocity Network, full supporting of the Full Velocity Network. They were full support of the DRTV when we were a part of that. These guys are great over here, and yeah, Bob Tompkins Sr., I tell you what, 79 years young. He does a fantastic job, and to see him come down in victory lane and still be able to race this simulation, I only look up to him. Being 79 years old and being able to do this, I hope I even make it that far, and Bob Tompkins Sr. is still out there doing things that he likes to do.
No, and he's the epitome of the nicest guy in the community. It's so cool to see him in victory lane as we wrap up what has been an awesome evening, paying tribute to our friends with SMO, to our Wounded Warrior Project, and all the donations that have come in. Thank you guys so much for that. But we look forward now. We turn the page back on the airwaves one night from now, tomorrow night. We return to FTF for the first time since that heroic night last November, where our buddy, our broadcast colleague, the Mr. David Schildhouse, the champ, crowned the FTF champion last November. And David, wouldn't you know, all 10 races of the FTF playoffs are going to be live right here on the FEN airwaves. What are you thinking going into tomorrow, man? That is going to be a fun show.
Well, I said on my broadcast, my stream on Wednesday night for another league race that began its chase, this is going to be the most stressful and intense 10 weeks of my life as we go forward through the chase in both of those series, but in particular on Sunday nights in FTF. That is the crown jewel. That is the big time. And, we go in, I think, the 4th or the 5th seed, and there's a lot riding on this. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of intensity, and I'm trying not to think about it too much tonight, but it's going to be on my mind pretty heavily tomorrow as we wind down to the green flag. But I'm looking forward to the Full Velocity Network covering us for the next 10 weeks, all the drama and implications that come along with our chase. And hopefully I can put on a great show in my number 20 Ford, and the rest of my Vast House Racing team can put on a great show as well. But all of us at FTF are thrilled to have Full Velocity Network covering our chase. We'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. And it's going to be one whale of a show from the Chicagoland Speedway. I am ready to go.
Ready to go. We are, Todd Stanton. Can't wait for tomorrow night. But, a late coming to our calendar here a couple nights ago, the guys at Hobo Racing reached out, and we're going back over to Hobo this coming Thursday night with a little bit of Whalen Modified action. And do we really get to go to Thompson Speedway? I mean, that's home turf, man. It don't get no better than that coming up Thursday night.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, and that's it right in your neck of the woods, of course, and that's short track. That's in my neck of the woods. I love short track racing. It's so fast paced. It fits into my announcing style. I'd like to see a little bit of dirt on there, but the Whelen Modified's fantastic. Last time we were out there with them, they had a lot of cars out there, and it was a fantastic race.
Well, can't wait to get there. Can't wait to get to FTF tomorrow night. Check out our full schedule, guys. FullVelocityNetwork.com. So until tomorrow night, for my broadcast partner, David Schildhouse, going to be out behind the wheel. Joe Allen's going to be at the controls tomorrow night, and Todd Stanton will be alongside. My name is Phil Lacasse. Thank you, everybody, tonight who tuned in to make this evening what it was, raising money and awareness for our friends at the Wounded Warrior Project. And until next time, we bid you a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.